then because that thing where it's like, oh, well, I'm just doing it for the art.
Yeah.
Of course you're doing it for the art, but if you have no audience for your art, then that's a real disservice to it.
Yeah.
It's just sort of I feel like it's pretty straightforward.
It is, but on the other side, I don't think many Pakistani writers can afford to do it just for the art.
Yes.
That's the sad part of it. There are many, many talented writers out there, but unfortunately, they just don't have the resources to dedicate time to sit down and write a book or do the research if it's non-fiction. I feel that if you are doing something like this, you are in an extremely privileged position to do so, whether it's fiction or non-fiction. And that, I believe, comes down to the fact that our local publishing houses just don't have the infrastructure or the resources. And in terms of people, when people say, oh, get sponsorship, sponsors right now, given the current economic climate, they're just not there anymore.
And who sponsors books?
Some do.
Like you can hardly
some organizations do.
I remember Mazar Bazaar came out a couple of years. That was sponsored, I guess, by the Princess Trust.
Nestle just did drops of. They worked with markings about the milk industry, but again, that's
not literature.
No, that's not
you
literature.
take away from the book when you make it a marketing sort of ploy for your product, as opposed to the book for the book's sake.
And I find that those books tend to be kind of coffee table books or just kind of sort of showpiece beautiful books, but it's not literature, for example, or it's not academic, or it's not
those
sort of
are
pushing the
markets.
narrative.
Coffee table books have a different market altogether. Their aim is to communicate visually, and I feel that there's not a big market, but there's a medium-sized market in Pakistan because, people are very visual. Our culture, whether you look at the magazines, whether you look at social media, videos, images, there's a rich wealth of all of that out there, and people respond well. But that's a different market. Literature, for example, it's incredibly difficult to make ends meet if you're doing literature, which is why not many people pursue it, even if there are stories out there. I know, Aisha, you tried with the short story competition many years ago with Faiza Khan. And again, what was churned out just didn't meet the mark.
Well, I think the first one did quite well.
Yes.
The second one, it was difficult to get a certain standard.
Absolutely.
And it was colossal task in the sense that her career was going elsewhere, and I was very much going elsewhere as well. But I mean,
unboxing.
Each form of publication has its own issues. Like for instance, when I spoke about Naveed Shahzad and Musharraf Ali Faruqi, these are very seasoned writers. Now, if you have a debut author, the debut author's not going to know how to market his or her own book, and that responsibility locally tends to fall on the shoulders of the author, which is not how it should work. I mean, it's very. I don't think it's very. I think it can demoralize an author if they have to go from bookshop to bookshop holding my book saying, please, can you stock me? Sort of thing. And without anybody, sort of helping them or sort of pushing their product.
And traditionally, that's what the publication house is meant to do, or the agent is meant to do.
Yeah.